The Aurora Historical Society and the Community Foundation of the Fox River Valley are proud to collaborate in the production of this tribute to the Juvenile Protective Association of Aurora, Illinois. The organization, known informally as the JPA, celebrated its 100th anniversary in February 2014. The JPA received its charter from the state of Illinois on February 24, 1914. 6 citizens created the nonprofit organization for the primary purpose of promoting the welfare of children in Aurora, Illinois. 2 months prior to the JPA's incorporation, Edna Smith of Aurora and her friend Mrs. Kate Raftery, who was a founding member of the JPA and also the founder of the Little Traveler Shops in Geneva, arranged with Mrs. Clara Huco to care for several homeless children at her residence on North Lake Street. This home was called Thornwood House. Within 6 months, Thornwood House was completely outgrown. The children were then given shelter in a home located at 66 South Elmwood Drive in Aurora. This home, called Juvenile Home, had previously been the site of an industrial residence for girls under the direction of Edna Smith. Juvenile Home operated from 1914 to 1923. It closed when it was no longer able to house the increasing number of children needing placement. Mrs. Mary Goddard served as the second matron of Juvenile Home, having succeeded Mrs. B.E. Sonny. Goddard was a longtime leader in children's work in the community. Appropriately, when a new home for children was constructed at the corner of West Galena Boulevard and Elmwood Drive, it was named the Mary Goddard Home for Children. This home was opened in 1923 and was funded with the help of the Aurora Kiwanis Club, which raised $75,000 for its construction. Mary Goddard served as the superintendent of the new home for many years. She was exceptional in her devotion to the mission of the JPA, serving the organization from 1915 to 1944. The Mary Goddard Home for Children was eventually torn down, and a 1-story nursing facility now occupies the site. The next and final children's home that was operated by the JPA was a gift from Stella and Charles Sensenbaugh in 1944. The mansion, located on West Park Avenue in Aurora, was the home in which Stella Sensenbaugh was raised. Her mother, Selma Smith, remained in the home until her death in 1943. Stella then gave the home to the JPA as a memorial to her sister Edna, who was instrumental in starting the original home for children in Aurora and who also served on the JPA Board of Directors. Tragically, Edna and her other sister, Genevieve Nash, died in a car accident in New Jersey more than 20 years earlier in 1922. The new Edna Smith Home for Children was a fitting way to honor Edna, who had devoted her life to Aurora's children. The story of the Edna Smith Home and its occupants is significant to the history of Aurora. The mansion was built in 1853 by Benjamin Franklin Hall. The area at that time was not developed, as evidenced by this photo from 1868. B.F. Hall was the first mayor of Aurora and one of the founders of the Aurora Beacon News. Sadly, he died in the sinking of the Lady Elgin excursion steamer on Lake Michigan in 1860. Upon his death, the home was sold to the Honorable Benjamin Franklin Fridley, an Aurora judge who was said to have ridden the court circuit with Abraham Lincoln. This 1880 photo provides a close-up of the mansion, with Fridley standing in the front yard. Fridley and his wife lived in the home until 1891. Captain C.H. Smith, and his wife Selma, who were the parents of Edna Smith, Genevieve Nash, and Stella Sensenbaugh, became the next owners. This is how the mansion looked when the Smiths purchased it. Captain Smith, who served in the Civil War, came from Mount Pleasant, Iowa, to head up the Western Wheeled Scraper Works, later called the Austin Western Manufacturing Company. Smith made extensive renovations to the home, adding the huge white pillars at the front, and also a third-floor ballroom. The renovated home had little resemblance to the original. Captain Smith and Selma Smith's daughters, Stella, Edna, and Genevieve, were raised in the home. They were privately tutored and eventually attended Vassar College. Stella Smith married Charles Sensenbaugh. The couple lived on Downer Place in Aurora and later in Batavia, Illinois. As an aside, Charles Sensenbaugh was the son of Samuel S. Sensenbaugh, who co-founded the S.S. Sensenbaugh Company in 1867. This well-known women's clothing and department store was located on Broadway in downtown Aurora. Samuel became sole owner of the company in 1890. The store was closed in 1969. During his career, Charles Sensenbaugh served as president of Sensenbaugh's department store and also as president of his father-in-law's company, the Western Wheeled Scraper Works. After Charles and Stella gifted Stella's childhood home to the JPA, it took only 4 years to raise the $190,000 needed to renovate the structure and add new fireproof dormitories. Eventually, the home was able to accommodate 50 children. On October 8, 1948, the Edna Smith Home for Children was dedicated. Astonishingly, more than 6,000 people attended the grand opening event. It was a lovely facility, visited by citizens throughout the year, who were given special tours. The 3 acres of grounds made it possible for boys and girls to play a variety of outdoor sports, including baseball. In addition, there were basketball courts and jungle gyms. The merry-go-round was enjoyable for children of all ages, including the adults who could not resist the fun. Board games were played outdoors in the spring and summer, enabling the children to take advantage of the fresh air. And on special days, horse rides were given to the children, which brought a sense of adventure and excitement. Inside, boys used their imaginations in creating buildings and other structures with the large wooden blocks provided by the home. And youngsters were always proud to impress adults with their feats of strength. Toy trucks, road machinery, tractors, and boats gave boys the chance to dream about their future careers. Even the photographer was willing to demonstrate his craft to the children, who were always eager to learn from him. Music lessons and sing-alongs brought cultural opportunities to each child. Musicians visited the home often and introduced children to a variety of musical styles and instruments. The children learned to play instruments as well, and were eager to give recitals to their friends. Older children were encouraged to read stories and perform their musical talents, thus giving them experience and confidence. Children ate family style, which created a warm, home-like atmosphere. After dinner, it was time to study. Students attended the local public or parochial schools and were expected to complete the assignments given by their teachers. After homework was completed, there was story time for the younger children. And then an hour of television was allowed before bedtime. Children worshiped in the faith of their family's choosing. Reciting nighttime prayers was an important part of life at the Edna Smith home. Holidays were festive occasions and always observed. Christmas was special to children and adults alike. May Day also was celebrated with May baskets and special treats for the children to enjoy. Easter was a time of adventure. Easter egg hunts were held on the grounds, with each child finding a prized egg for their basket. Even Thanksgiving was special, with dinners prepared in the spacious kitchen under the watchful eyes of the young residents. And of course, nothing was more treasured in a child's life than the celebration of his or her birthday. However, due to rising costs, a reduction in income, and fewer referrals from private and public agencies, the Edna Smith home was reluctantly closed in 1971. All children found shelter in other facilities or in foster homes, which had become the state of Illinois' preferred way for children to be served. It was a difficult and heart-wrenching decision. Yet, it was a decision that had to be made. After closing, the JPA board leased the building and grounds to School Districts 131 and 129 for a pre-kindergarten center. The building was eventually sold to a church, and now is the home of Mutual Ground, a shelter for women and children. Alan Schuler, the longest-serving president of the JPA Board of Directors, has helped to shepherd the organization since 1969, when he joined the board. He became president in 1971, a position he holds to this day. Mr. Schuler continues to work closely with the board to ensure the continuation of the JPA's outstanding support of the Aurora community. Each year, thousands of dollars in grants are awarded to local agencies providing services to children. A few of the many organizations receiving grants include the Association for Individual Development, Aurora Area Interfaith Food Pantry, Breaking Free, CASA Kane County, Communities in Schools, Family Counseling Service, Fox Valley Christian Action, Hesed House, Kiwanis Coats for Kids, Mutual Ground, People for Child Care, and Taking Back Our Community. These grants have been made possible through the sale of the Edna Smith home and through the investment earnings on the gifts and bequests given to the organization through the years. One of the largest bequests ever received came from the estate of Frank Weisgerber, a truly outstanding board member who devoted many years of his life to the JPA. Weisgerber was the president of the National Brush Company in Aurora. He also was the president of the JPA at the time of his death in 1952. Others who have been especially dedicated to the JPA include Betty Lay, board secretary, Dorothy Kelly, long-serving board member, and Francis Pellman, who retired as treasurer of the JPA in 2010 after 48 years of service. They are pictured here with President Alan Schuler and board member David Stover, who later served as mayor of Aurora. During the first 57 years of the JPA's history, the unparalleled dedication of its board of directors, superintendents, house parents, and support personnel meant the world to children who found a loving home away from home. Gratefully, since the closing of the Edna Smith home, the JPA has not wavered in its commitment to the needs of Aurora's youth. It remains a strong and essential organization that puts children first. May the next 100 years find the Juvenile Protective Association as vibrant and compassionate as it is today. The future of the JPA is important to the future of our children. It is important to the future of us all.